Have you ever received a letter that changed everything you thought you knew about your family? I grew up in Austin, Texas, in a small house on Elm Street. My father, Tom, was a quiet man, a high school janitor who never complained about anything. My mother, Karen, worked part-time at a pharmacy. We weren't rich, but we were happy. When I got accepted to Heidelberg University in Germany with a full academic scholarship, my parents cried. We celebrated with takeout pizza and a cake my mother stayed up late to bake. I was studying molecular biology, living my dream. I called home every Sunday. My father always said the same thing. We're fine, focus on your studies. Then, during my last semester, an email arrived from the university. They explained that a small fire in a server room 4 years ago had corrupted some student records. My scholarship file was among them. The system had accidentally merged my data with another student, one who didn't have a scholarship. My funding had been revoked without anyone noticing. Now they were reinstating it and apologizing for any inconvenience. I stared at the screen, confused. I'd never made a payment. I thought I had a full scholarship. I called my mother. She put my father on the phone. He said, "We'll talk about it when you come home for break next month. Don't worry, just focus on your finals." Then he hung up. I spent the next month in a fog, finishing my papers and exams, but every night I'd lay awake wondering what they were hiding. The month passed slowly. My last exam ended on Thursday. I flew back to Austin the next morning. When I walked through the airport doors, my parents were waiting. My mother hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe. My father stood behind her, smiling with his eyes wet. He looked older, thinner. His hands shook a little when he picked up my suitcase. "Dad, are you okay?" "Just tired. Long shift last night. I'm fine." We drove home. That night, after dinner, I followed him onto the porch swing, the same swing where we talked about everything. "Dad, the email, what happened?" He stared at the yard for a long moment. Then he took a deep breath. "You remember how happy you were when you got accepted. About a month after you started classes, I got a letter at home. It said your tuition hadn't been paid, and if we didn't pay by the deadline, you'd be withdrawn. But I had a scholarship. That's what I thought too. I called the administration. They said there had been a mix-up. 2 students with the same name and neither had a scholarship. The woman on the phone was cold. She said they heard stories like this all the time, families trying to scam their way into a fee waiver. She didn't believe me. When I asked what he did next, he looked at me, his eyes soft. "What could I do? You were there. You were happy. I couldn't let you come home. So I decided to pay. But Dad, tuition was expensive. How? I took some extra work. It wasn't that difficult." I knew he was lying, but he said it so calmly, like it was nothing. Later that night, I found my mother in the kitchen. "Mom, what really happened?" She put down her sponge. "Your father didn't want you to worry. He took 2 jobs, sometimes 3. He cleaned buildings during the day and worked security at a warehouse at night. One semester, he got pneumonia, really bad. He couldn't work enough to make the payment, so he sold his truck, the old Ford he'd had since before you were born." I started crying. "He never told me. Because he didn't want you to feel guilty. He wanted you to focus on your studies. He believed in you." A week later, another email arrived. The university had finalized the review. They would refund every tuition payment made on my behalf, plus additional compensation for the hardship. The total would be debited within 5 working days. I read it 3 times. Then I started planning. Next week, I told my parents I was visiting a friend. Instead, I went to a car dealership. My father's dream truck was a blue Ford F-150, the same model he'd sold years ago. They had one on the lot. I bought it. By the time I got back the following morning, I was exhausted but giddy. I parked the truck in the driveway and went inside. My parents were having breakfast. "Can you come outside? I want to show you something." They followed me out. My father froze when he saw the truck. "What's this?" I handed him the keys. "This is your truck, Dad. I know it's not the same one, but it's the same model, the same color. It's yours." His hands were shaking. He touched the hood like he was afraid it might disappear. "You didn't have to," he whispered. "The university gave me back every penny you paid, plus extra. I used part of it to buy the truck. The rest is in your account, Dad. You can retire now. You don't have to work 2 jobs anymore." My mother was crying. My father pulled me into a hug. "For the record," I said, "I still got straight A's without a scholarship." He pulled back, winked, never doubted it. That night, we ordered pizza and sat on the porch. My dad kept looking out at the driveway like he couldn't believe the truck was still there. Some debts can never be repaid, but every time my dad drives that truck, I know he's not thinking about the money. He's thinking about the road ahead. And so am I.